let's make the best pineapple upside down cake.
Okay, so we're gonna start by buttering a 9-inch cake pan, and then you're gonna add the rest of this chunk of butter into the pan and just let it melt in the oven while the oven is preheating. Once the butter is melted, we're gonna sprinkle on some brown sugar. I'm using a mix of light and dark here, but you can use either. And then we're going to lay our pineapple slices and cherries on top, and that's gonna make a really beautiful caramelized layer. Next, we're gonna make the crumble layer that will end up on the very bottom of the cake. It's just butter, flour, a little bit of sugar, cinnamon, and salt. Stir that together until you have a nice crumbly mixture. You're going to be able to break it up with your hands more when you sprinkle it on the cake, so don't worry if it doesn't look super crumbly right now. And then we're just going to set that aside and move on to making the cake batter. And for the cake batter, you'll need butter, flour, sugar, sour cream, eggs, milk, vanilla, baking soda, and cinnamon. So we're going to start by creaming the butter, and then we're going to go ahead and cream in the granulated sugar until it's really fluffy and well combined. Make sure you spend a couple minutes here to make sure everything is really well creamed, and it should look like a nice cohesive mixture. You shouldn't be able to differentiate the sugar from the butter. Then we're going to add our eggs, which are at room temperature. We're going to mix those on medium-high speed just for a minute or so until the mixture is really nice and fluffy and beautiful looking. Then we're going to add the vanilla. Make sure you use real vanilla extract for the best flavor. And room temperature full-fat sour cream. Mix those in until they are just combined. And then we will start adding our dry ingredients, which is flour, baking soda, salt, and a little bit of cinnamon. Gently mix that in on low speed so we don't end up with a dense cake. And then once it's almost mixed in, we're going to add the milk and then just gently keep mixing until the last streaks of flour are just about to disappear into the batter. And you can always just finish catching those last few little bits with a few gentle folds with a spatula. And if there's a few small lumps in your batter, that's totally fine. It's better than over mixing. So we're going to spread that batter into our prepared cake pan over the top of the pineapple layer and then sprinkle on that crumble. And as you can see, it makes a really nice crumbly mixture. We're going to bake the cake, let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes, and then hopefully you don't almost drop it off of the cake plate when you flip it out like I did. Rest assured, it was totally fine, even though I almost dropped the whole thing. And look at that beautiful cake. Slice into it right away or let it cool. It's totally up to you. Serve it with fresh whipped cream. There's also a recipe for that on my website.
If you enjoyed this recipe, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more delicious desserts. You can find the full recipe on bluebellrecipes.com. Happy baking!